Okay, Willem Dafoe, absolute pleasure to talk to you, absolute honour, and congratulations on the film. It's so much fun, it's just a great epic.
Oh, cool.
And it's quite unusual to go into a film where you're expecting to feel so much empathy for, you know, one of the very few human characters in it. And then we meet your character, who is an alien, but he has so much warmth and humour and empathy, but he's also in conflict with himself and his people that you actually really empathise with him. Was that one of the draws?
It was. It's a really good character, and he has a beautiful relationship with John Carter. You know, he's a conflicted character. He has a secret as well. So just on paper, he was attractive, and then to do it and do it with the motion capture in a big production like this was, you know, really attractive.
And were you familiar with the novels at all?
I wasn't. The draw was really Andrew Staunton first. Yeah. And I had worked with him doing a voice on one of his animations, Finding Nemo. Right.
Yeah.
And he was fantastic because Pixar has created a little utopia. They really get it right as far as I'm concerned. They really balance kind of art and commerce and rigor and play. It's really, almost all those guys just have a great culture behind what they do. So I wanted to work with him again and to work on this scale. He's come from animation, but I knew that he would be fantastic at on this kind of scale.
And I hear, you know, that kind of love of teamwork that he experienced in Pixar made the film a very collaborative film. It seems like there was great camaraderie on set.
There has to be, because there's so many bells and whistles and the technology is so complicated.
And this is a very physical role, which you never shy away from. I mean, Peter Spurg was slagging Ethan Hawke because he kept outrunning him in Daybreakers, and everyone was saying you're the only person who could work the glider in Spider-Man. How did you deal with the physicality on this one?
You know, I trust my body above anything else, and I like doing physical things. When I'm in motion, then I'm much more fluid. I think better. I feel better. I'm more available. So I always like to seek things out where maybe it's also the little boy in me that likes to act things out, but I like physical roles.
Yeah,
and it gets things going.
It gets things going. It certainly does in this film, and there's so much action. And the CGI and the special effects, it seems like that could go either way for an actor. It could be quite daunting that you're not working opposite anything, or it could give you a certain amount of freedom that you can say, I can do whatever I want and they'll work around me.
It's true. And, you know, this stuff is not comfortable. It's cumbersome. But after a while, once you get comfortable with it, it's nice because you're handed this new set of impulses. My body is taken away, and I'm putting on, I mean, physically, when I'm playing these scenes and we're filming them, I don't recognize my body because I'm on 3-foot stilts, and I have all this weight on my back, which is the battery for the camera that's on my head that's recording my facial expressions. So you take those obstacles, and not to be an idiot, you embrace them, and they help you with the pretending because you're fielding a completely different set of impulses.
And I hear Andrew Staunton paid you, I mean, the oddest compliment because he used your eyes and your facial expressions quite, you know, sort of amused for the look of the Tharks. Is that quite weird watching it back and seeing flashes of yourself in these characters? You
know, I see it. I see it only because I recognize the gestures and I remember filming the scenes, and the animators really were very faithful to the performance. So who knows how much, you know, I see something in the eyes every once in a while, but it's hard to see me in the Thark form, but that's okay because a part of me as an actor always wants to disappear.
I mean, this marks yet another completely diverse role for you, and your career is littered with these roles. I mean, some people, you know, younger people would know you from Spider-Man, older people know you from Platoon, and then you had, you know, incredibly controversial films like Antichrist. What is it that draws you to roles at this stage in your career?
It's never the roles, really. It's really the situation. The filmmaker is very important. Sense of adventure and inquiry, and I think I'm attracted to people that need me to do something.
And Andrew clearly needed you for this one.
Well, you know, at some level, and it's not an ego thing, it's just kind of claiming your territory. You know, I always feel like at some point you have to feel like you're the only one to do it. you know, to do that role.
Yeah.
So you seek out a combination of someone that is working on something interesting and a good fit. I mean, there's plenty of directors that I'd love to work with, and
Like
I
who?
say, there's too many, and I don't want to send out an advertisement, but I can think of, for example, like the Coen brothers, and I even know them personally. I like them very much, but there has yet to be a film that there's really the right role to do. So it's always a combination of things.
I mean, there are some iconic roles in your career, like we mentioned Antichrist and Platoon, and obviously Shadow of a Vampire, which earned you a well-deserved Oscar nomination. I mean, looking back at your career, are you happy that people associate you with these roles, or are there roles in your career that you feel prouder of, that were stronger or more rewarding?
Definitely, but I try not to get stuck on that. I mean, I think privately I do, but it's like, you know, you can have an opinion, but you don't parade them around. Because if you do, then you're only propping up. It makes you more rigid. I try to forget my preferences. Okay. You know, it's
Is it working?
A little bit. And there is a pleasure, because I do seek out a variety of roles. There's a pleasure to have people identify you with different roles. There's quite a range there. So I try not to get stuck in how I see myself or how I see what roles are right for me.
And I mean, the next project...
It's an intuitive thing.
I see, yeah. And the next project you're working on is another really interesting role, The Hunter, which sees, I believe you learned some serious bush skills. What was it like working on that production? It
was fantastic. I liked it very much because it was a very demanding role, a physical role. We shot in Tasmania, which is quite a fantastic place. The nature there is quite fantastic. And it's a co-star in the movie because there's a lot of sequences when I'm just out by myself in the landscape doing hunter things. And to do that, to just practically speaking and also to become the character, I had to learn these bushcraft skills. So between hunters and a bushcraft guy, I learned how to set snares, and I learned how to, you know, dress a wallaby, and I learned stuff about guns that I never knew, and basically survival things. So that was a whole adventure.
Yeah, yet another one to add to your career. Willem Dafoe, absolute pleasure to talk to you. Now, we are from Ireland, and I have to settle a bet that I had made with someone down the pub. Is that you voicing the creepy polar bear in the Bird's Eye ads? Is that a yes? Have you just won me a tenner? Please tell me you've won me a tenner. Won me a tenner. I loved you anyway. I love you even more. Willem Dafoe, absolute pleasure. Thank you.